Bloodborne, of course, was also the like, put that shield down. You're gonna learn today.
Put it down. You learn to dodge, especially. Dodging was... Oh, man. I really liked the quick style of gameplay and, like, getting up in the boss's face, getting up in the enemies' faces. I really liked that style of gameplay, for sure.
Get aggressive and you'll get your life back.
Yeah. I love that. It's super good. I love that they let you do some things like that in Elden Ring, too, if you have, like, the right runes and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Relive my favorite game.
Well, so that's the thing, is like Elden Ring ultimately is like coming in at the end of all of these and going like, okay, which one did you like the most? Let's make sure we can, give you like aggressive styles if you want to, or if you just want to sit back like Dark Souls 2 and just go and pop spells, you can do that, casting.
How do you guys feel about Dark Souls 2?
I think it was the most disappointing game Fromsoft has ever put out, and was still easily the game of that year.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
I like it, and that's mainly because it's the first one I played, right?
Okay.
So I got to experience those games in like an ascending order. My first time touching Souls was Dark Souls 2. And I'm like, I still fondly remember it because I'm like, and then I enjoyed everything afterwards more.
Yeah. Well, Dark Souls 2 was the game where my whole fan base was pretty convinced I wasn't going to touch it, just because of, it's Dark Souls 2. But one of my friends told me, she was like, Mori, look, Dark Souls 2 is a game worth playing once. That's all she said. It's worth playing once.
I've played it like 11 times.
Yeah, okay, no.
Really? Why do that to yourself? I liked it. It was fun. Great bosses.
I was so into Dark Souls 1 at the time that I had this mentality of like, maybe if I beat it a different way, it'll be as good.
The Scholar of the First Sin did come out and kind of like change things up a little bit, and so for me, regardless of the game, I have a very, very like I feel a strong connection with Fume Knight, like Sir Alon, that boss,
Fume Knight.
Because that was one of the bosses where when we were streaming it, God, Pat, I don't know how many tries it was, right? But
Fume Knight,
yeah, for me,
it was like 120.
It was crazy, but it was one of the first times where I was like, okay, we're not going home until this is done.
It was because you or I were leaving for Japan the next morning.
Oh my God.
Okay.
Do you remember that?
Something was,
I think you were leaving for Japan in like 12 hours, and I'm like, motherfucker, you must beat this before you leave the country.
And we just sat there, and it was like a battle by inches, where you're like, okay, I can see the slight fuck up, and I got hit twice, it's over again. But that's the first absolute like nose to the grindstone, like, this is what this series is about, moment I had. So
sure.
I feel strongly about that, and I'm like, he's into, so I have fond memories there.
Yeah. For sure. I also feel kind of similarly, but in a bit of a different way, because when I had beaten Elden Ring, I beat Elden Ring's DLC. When I played the main game for Elden Ring, I used summons and whatnot. I was doing dex and magic and whatnot. But then when I went into the DLC, I beat it without doing any of that, and it was definitely so challenging. So when I went back and played the older games, I was like, wow, this is not as much of a challenge. I'm actually standing a chance fighting these bosses. When I got to Fume Knight, though, that was when I went, wow, I haven't been this frustrated fighting a boss since Elden Ring. That's crazy. That's
a wall.
Why? Well, he's a wall.
Yeah,
it was crazy, but it felt good. I was happy about it. But
what was kind of interesting is like, did you ever get to try Demon Souls, the first?
Yes, I beat the original one.
Okay,
which is. I had to go through a lot of hoops to get that. I had to buy original PS3, the original game. I had to get like a HDMI converter. It was a whole. It was a whole quest.
Yeah.
So you came around in this media space after the PS3 was kind of on its way out, right?
Yes.
God, doing PS3 stuff was a nightmare.
It was bad.
It was always such a problem.
No HDMI.
God.
Yeah.
Capture. No HDMI.
Just a mess.
We
Like AV, I guess, huh?
Yeah, I mean, like, I was extra paranoid because of the times we lost recording footage, essentially. And early on, back in ye old fucking, the days when we wore the onion on our belts because it was the style at the time,
Yeah.
I was, like, finding ways to we're not streaming, so there was no extra live backup of anything. So I was like, can I get a backup recording device going? Can I get a backup audio device going? Because when you play through on a full day, and then you lose the whole session, and there's like tons of hard ass boss fights and massive lost progress because you just moved forward because those games just like you get your one save. It was the worst feeling ever. It sucks,
God, that's horrific.
But like I was gonna say that like going back to Demons, it's interesting because like the tricks that they use, they kind of tested them out in that early game, so it ends up being not that hard, when you're going back to it,
It's like demanding that you don't know it's silly little tricks, right? Like there was a part in Elden Ring, when you go up the elevator to like the snow area, and you can fall off the side for an entire sequence of invisible pathways.
Right.
And I did that. I'm like, oh, you guys are just using every trick you've ever used in any of these. You're just going to throw everything at the wall. But when you go back to Demon Souls, like these are their first, like, okay, what if there's a guy hiding behind the corner? There's another guy in front.
And you look this way, and then he's like, got him.
Hey, what's up?
Right?
Oh my god.
And I feel like the entirety of Elden Ring, like the whole time I was streaming that, I was just clicking lock on whenever darkness was in front of me, and I don't know if I got like once just by spoiling it with the camera tilt and lock on, and to the point where like the Reggie, who I was co-streaming, who's playing with, he's like, oh come on, can you get caught by one? And it's just like, nah, because you learn to just lock on to the thing in the darkness. It's not
lock on a thing in the darkness, check every corner. If there's anywhere the game wants you to go, just assume that there's someone behind you or above you on a platform ready to jump on you.
Yeah.
Yep.
Up to like Elden Ring DLC, I remember like there was parts of that where I'm like rounding a corner and you're just like, stop, tilt the camera that way. All right, there it is. And where's the second one? Oh, you're up top. Okay, cool. Back off. Do one of them little like slow moving bell spells to make the encounter, not ambush you. And it's just like, we're still doing the same tricks, all these years later.
Yeah.
But then he's like, yeah, but fuck you. Here's a poison swamp.
The poison soul, I swear to God, for Demon Souls, I always felt like the bosses were never what I struggled the most with. It was just the areas, the runbacks.
The bosses in Demon Souls are really easy now, compared to what we have now.
Yeah, that's what I meant. Yeah,
like a bunch of them are like trivial. Like Adjudicator is free.
Yeah, I will say, Fool's Idol, I died to a couple more times than I'd like to admit. Which one is it? Which one is it? I don't know which one it is. I'm sorry, Deadbeats, you had to put up with that. It was bad.
We all went through. We all had that flame lurker moment where you're like, wait, what do you mean he can like hit me, cross me up and hit me behind, and and then you're like, oh wait, I can hit him hard enough that he actually like stops moving for a second, huh?
Yeah.
Okay, just time to go all in.
Yeah.
Just keep hitting him.
No, and then like I just kind of I feel like that first literally old King Alent, right? That final boss, like what you learn from a big slash coming at you from across the screen is gonna work wonders when you're fighting Sir Alon, right. and like other archetype of like insane blade slash characters and people that like you have to roll out of their startup animation and all that crazy shit timing wise,
It's all about the learning.
I'm really interested in seeing what they could possibly do. I mean, they're doing Night Rain now, and they're doing what's it called?
Dustbloods.
That's Dustbloods, right?
Yeah.
But like in terms of like a regular single player game, I'm baffled because when you go through Sekiro and you beat the Sekiro final boss, and if you go through Shadow, did you do Erdtree as well, Callie?
Oh, you mean Shadow of the Erdtree? Yes, I did.
Okay, you get to the end of that. And the feeling, and I read it in an interview later, but I felt it myself. I'm like, this is definitely as far as you can push the difficulty with the bosses in this system. Like this, like in fact, they probably went too far on Erdtree. Like that thing is ridiculous. Yeah. So you can't just keep upping the difficulty. Like there's nowhere for it to go.
I felt like with Radahn especially, the way, when I was fighting Radahn, I felt very much like, all right, there's a way that this game wants you to beat the boss, and you have to do it this way. You have to roll a very specific way during these attacks, and there's no wiggle room for doing it any differently. And at that point, I was kind of like, man, the difficulty, I don't know how much further they can push it beyond this without like completely restricting freedom.
Did you fight him pre or post nerf?
Pre-nerf.
Okay, yeah. That
I'm a little proud of that.
Yeah,
nice.
Because like it was the visuals. It was like I cannot see the boss.
The lag. It was crazy.
And so but what I was just describing about like literally King Allen's like the big slashes from across the screen.
Yeah.
Those lessons are coming back in Consort Radahn with the ghosts coming at you.
15 years later,
right? They're still doing it, but then the timing of how they're coming at you is getting all mixed up, and you're like, come the fuck on! Like it's the least fair it's ever been. What more can they do?
For sure.
See, Callie, I don't know if you know this about Woolie, but he's the smart one around here. He likes to wait until games get patched to nerf.
I see.
It's not because of the scheduling or timing or anything. It's a tactical patch that I'm waiting on.
It's a pretty. Hey, listen, there's a lot of good reasons to hold off, and all of those reasons are true. And especially one reason.
And then we all get the clout together, baby. That's how we do it.
Yeah.